A brain cell was triggered yesterday when I saw on the news that a woman protester had the Macht, Frei wording on her placard to try to suggest to the governor of Illinois or Ohio or one of those Midwestern states that she should allow people to go out and work rather than staying home and trying not to be infected by or infect others with the coronavirus. So rather than saying, please let us get back to work or please whatever, she used the Macht, Frei slogan of the Auschwitz concentration camp. So my little tiny brain was trying to figure out why she did that, and it still has not yet come up with an answer other than sheer stupidity and insensitivity on her part. And again, I was trying to figure out what was she trying to, in fact, say with this, that she would prefer to work in a concentration camp, that she felt like she was in a concentration camp, and I don't believe that anyone who was not in a concentration... Here I'm drawing swastikas in the brain. Here's what her brain looks like. It's full of little swastika cranulations. Only someone that has been in a concentration camp could probably explain the horrors of what it was like to those that were not. Some people with a heart, that kind of a heart, not the pumpy kind, but a heart and a little bit of brain equals compassion and understanding and empathy, could understand how insulting and rude she was. But in addition to that, my brain was just short-circuiting because I couldn't understand what was her actual message by using that, other than to be insulting and offensive. And I don't think that was her intention, though it might have been. But even if it were, it didn't make sense to me. Unless she actually wanted to go to Poland and hang out, having delicious water soup once every week while trying to work. It reminded me, anyway, my brain is over here. I don't want to confuse it by, here's a brain cell that this person was short-circuiting, little lightning bolts and stuff. But there was another brain cell over here that was resonating with the things here, because I had done an art piece, and it may have been insensitive, and I'm admitting it, but there's some truth to it, and there's some truth to it now. I'll just describe what the piece was. There was a man in the building who provided all of us with a set frame that was maybe 3 feet this way by maybe 2 feet this way, and it had round. It was made of black, sort of plasticky rubber. It was about this thick, this tall, vertically, and the sides here were maybe an inch thick. So it's sort of like a tray that you would bake brownies in or lasagna or something. It sort of had that thickness, but that thick. And I'll draw it in perspective here. There we go. So you get the picture. So we had this frame, and we were supposed to make something to go inside of this, and he then placed it in his hallway of the building. We have a very long hallway, and he painted the floor, which was gray. He painted it with sort of a British racing green, but a little duller than that. I guess the green was here, and then it had black stripes here. And then the cement, the floor was here. And then he had these things placed, or they would be placed like that. And he wanted to represent sort of what an interior of a Pullman or an MBTA commuter train would look like. Because on either side of us, looking down at my building is here. We have another building here. And we have railroad tracks all over the place on either side of our triangular plot of land. And the owners of the NBTA felt to keep us safe and other people safe, they put up barbed wire fences to keep us from walking across the tracks, which I used to do all the time to go to the grocery store. And I loved walking across the tracks and under the bridge and all this kind of stuff. And they're putting up the fence really felt confining to me. And it was at the same time that this art project this guy was putting together was happening. And I had an idea. This was before this brain cell was dealing with her. I had an idea over here in that part of my brain that, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something that references the fact that the train company put up this fence. So I had an idea. Here was my idea. So here's our chain link fence, and it had razor wire on the top, little things, little barbed wire, things like that along the top, and this was, chain linky. And then I drew, if you were on the train right here, looking this way, you saw the corner of my building where I at one point had an office. So the building, it was at night, and my building was here and my little light was on. So the only thing that was really light was right up there. Okay, Pierre, let's just do this correctly. You think we can do that correctly? Ta-da. Start over. So here's my picture. Here's the skies up here. The building is down here. There's my light. And I think I might have had a moon and maybe some stars. And the building was just a slight gray color. But it was pretty dark. And then I had the chain link fence. Like that. And then the barbed wire went like this. Now here's where my insensitivity came in, and my dark sense of humor, if you can have a dark sense of humor about things like this. And my humor can sometimes be very dark, but anyway, what I did was I wrote in lettering, script lettering, and then I had little barbs here. So this was the lettering spelled out a phrase with the barbed wire. And there I am working in my my newly imprisoned state because of this fence that they put up that seemed to cramp my style. So what this says is Kunst, Macht, Frei. Art makes you free. And yes, I was referring to the Arbeit macht frei of the concentration camp. So there was that connection. So let me just list the connections. So we have the concentration camp. We have the railroad, which is that's connected to the concentration camp, of course. Because we're seeing this, we were meant to be inside of a train looking out these windows, and out of my window of this train I saw this place where I was making art. And we had, what else did we have? What other connection was there? We have the sort of imprisonment that the fence was making me feel. So anyway, there were a lot of connections I was trying to pull together in a way that made sense to me, where this woman holding her sign at this protest didn't make any sense, because I didn't really understand what her point was. What my point was here, even though I was drawing on the concentration camp phrase, if you knew that, and then you read this and understood what this meant, art will make you free, I was trying to impress upon the viewer that art does make you free. You are able to escape, in your head at least, through art, where you're seemingly imprisoned. Now, me being in my loft in a beautiful, well, not very beautiful building, completely free to go out and eat pizza and do all sorts of stuff. I understand that it's as far from the concentration camp as one could almost get. But what I was trying to say in this piece was, I do feel a little bit cramped by this new fence that was put up after many years of it being open, and I felt sort of claustrophobic. But it was really mainly about the art. Art will make any constriction that you might feel in the real world, art will free up your life a little bit. Was it in bad taste? Yes or no, you can answer. It was something that no one had commented on it. No one came up to me and said, Pierre, that is the most distasteful thing. Someone actually wanted it. They said, gee, I really love your picture. And I said, you understand what it means? And I explained it, and that didn't bother her because she loved the picture so much. So I gave it to her. But it was an interesting project, and part of it involved humor to a degree, and part of that humor had to do with a concentration camp, death camp. And, can one have humor about something as dark as the Holocaust? Well, yes, you can. You can have humor about something as deadly as a pandemic. It helps us survive, I think, by smiling. Smiling does a lot of good. even if it might have been in bad taste, even if it's a dirty joke, off-color joke, sometimes if it makes you smile because it's funny, it's kind of doing you good. Anyway, it's very strange. We'll go back to the brain cells here. And I'm admitting that I did this. I take full responsibility for my insensitivity or my humor or my very clever what's the word I want now? Maybe there's no such word that can come after that statement about this fence that they put up. But this one, the Arbeit Macht, Frei, that woman was holding up, I'm still trying to figure it out in my head what she was trying to say. Even if she knew she was being offensive, and insensitive, was she just trying to say that maybe she's trying to say the same thing I was trying to say here, that feeling trapped, work is freedom, and not being able to work is like being in a prison. But a death camp is a little different. If she goes out to work and gets infected, the work is the death camp in this case. So again, that's causing that brain cell to sort of go mental on me. So, True Confessions is over. What do you think? Too much information? Probably. See ya.